Oh, so let's go to the first slide. And this is the verse that everybody knows out of Ecclesiastes. To everything there is a season, a time to every purpose under heaven. That's part of the song that Marcy sang last week, which was Turn, Turn, Turn by the Byrds, right? Most of you know that. So I want to go to the next slide because I want to break this down a little more for you and for me. There's a time for everything, a season for every, that this has activity, purpose, it's all the same under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. Well, we just shared that earlier in the service, and isn't that the truth? Not only for us physically, but emotionally. There is a time to be born and a time to die. There are time to have ideas be born, and there are time to let those ideas go and go to another one. So there is a time for both. Let me before I go any further. Sandy was trying to make a point last week, and I hope that you got that this whole verse, this whole lesson is meant for us to realize it's both. It is not one or the other. It's and. It is both. Neither one of these are wrong. We tend to want to make one part of the statement, each statement, wrong. It's not. It is both. It's and. Okay? So as we go to this, when we go further, a time to plant and a time to uproot. So we've got a little one coming in here to see Grandma, I think. Grandma Simone. Oh. So there's a time to... Hey, that's good. That's good. She did good. They're both doing so good. A time to plant and a time to uproot. So there is a time to plant yourself, to plant your ideas, to plant your dreams, and sometimes there's a time to uproot it, isn't there? Just Mother Nature shows us this. A time to kill and a time to heal. And I think about Ukraine, and they're really trying to heal right now because they've had a little bit of success. And I'm looking at that country trying to hold on to what hope they can. That they're making a move, that the opposition's been coming this way, and over this few days, they have felt like they've moved this opposition this way. Okay? A time to tear down and a time to build. You think about, I'm thinking about Bobby and the horse barn, and I'm thinking that over the years, there was a time for her to tear down certain things because she needed to build something bigger, something better, something to affect more people, more teenagers. And I think about in your own life where there's been a time where you've had to tear down your old belief systems. Many people coming to Unity, the challenge is that you have to tear down some old belief systems that I know I was taught till I was 40. And then to come in here and say, wow, there's a different way, and I built a whole new spiritual life after being able to tear down my former belief system, my former memes, as I call them. There's a time to weep and a time to laugh. It's both. And I'm looking especially at my friends Don Hanna and Todd Henderson. It's okay to spend some laughter. I know for me, when I had a fatal accident and I spent 4 months not laughing because I felt like I was disrespecting the person who had died if I laughed. And so, by God, I don't care what anybody was saying, I was not going to laugh. And then there was a moment when I laughed. And I'll never forget it to this day. I will never forget it. It was like, oh my God, that felt so good. It felt so good. I felt like I was coming back to myself. So there is a time to do both. Neither one is wrong. So if you want to weep till the cows come home, it's not wrong, but spend some time and laughing, having some laughter. Because that's what our loved ones would want us to do. I know that. A time to mourn and a time to dance. That can be in many situations. A time to mourn. I look back at Jamie in the sound booth. Her son went off into the military. And I saw the mourning in her face of her son, her child, and he's out. He's been living with her. And now she's alone, so to speak, right? And so there was that mourning period. And then I saw her dance when he called her. When he finally got the call, she got the call from him. And I saw her dancing in her eyes. A time to scatter stones and a time to pick them up and gather them. Okay, we all scatter stones all over the place, don't we? These can be challenges. These can be negative thoughts. We scatter them. And then there's times when we need to gather them up, throw them in the creek, whatever, right? A time to embrace and a time to refrain. Did we not learn that through COVID? Remember those days? Yeah, I remember meeting my daughter at our fence on our property, 10 feet away, having coffee. And I wanted to hug her so bad. But we didn't, did we? So there's a time to search and a time to give up. Oh, yes. A time to search and a time to give up. That, to me, reminds me of the paralysis of the analysis. We can search and search and search for another opinion, and we're paralyzed. We don't move forward. There is a time to search, and there's a time to let it go and trust. Oh, I've been watching that for the last 4 days with the board. Has anybody seen the weather on Wednesday for today? Thursday, has anybody seen the weather? It's 100% chance of rain. Thursday, Friday, here we go again. Saturday, here we go again. And it's like, there's a time when you just let it be, right? A time to keep and a time to throw away. Come on, who are you? What do you call those that hoarders? Right? That's the obvious here in this phrase. But there is a time to keep an idea, and there's a time to throw ideas away. If they're not serving you, throw them away. A time to tear and a time to mend. Sometimes we do have to separate, and sometimes we need to mend relationships, don't we? And sometimes it's healthier for you to let that go, to separate yourself from it. Doesn't mean tear it. Separate yourself from it. A time to be silent and a time to speak. Yeah. Sometimes too much of this can do a lot of damage, can't it? I know often I have to say to myself in here, shut up, Kathy. Shut up. Shut up, just listen. A time to love and a time to hate. This to me was a hard one. But you know what? I can tell you right now that I probably might have had slight hateful feelings with Michael 3 days ago. They don't last long. But it's both and. Don't beat myself up that I was like so mad at him because he wasn't hearing what I was saying. And then an hour later, I want a hug from him. And he's not over it yet. I know I'm confusing to live with. Because I was over it, but he wasn't. And then it's happened in reverse, right? When he's over it, and I'm like, oh, heck no, right? A time for war and a time for peace. We're not talking wars of countries. We're talking war internally. The wars that we hold inside of ourselves. And how come we have those wars? What is it that the Dalai Lama says? Buddhism says the same thing. The cause of suffering is what? Our thinking. Our thinking puts us at war, or our thinking puts us at peace. Hey, we spend a lot of time feeling war thoughts about the weather. When you can't change it, it's going to be what it is, and so we show up and act as if, right? So, with that, oh my goodness, where does the time go? I'm going to just tell you, I had a story here for you, but I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to really give you a snippet. It was a story about a social worker working with people who are really downtrodden. And she went into this home, and the place was just a mess. It was filthy. There was just, it kind of looked like a hoarder's house. And she was like, oh my God, how can I even begin to start helping these people clean out? So she went to Kroger's and bought a $5 clearance bouquet of flowers and put it in the middle of the table after she scooted stuff away and put it in the middle of the table. The next time she came back, the whole table was cleaned off. She brought another bouquet of flowers. Next time she came back, 3 feet further was cleaned off. Doesn't take but one small act to make a difference. Can we sing that song? Check, check, check.
Do not wait until some good deed greatness you may do. Do not wait to shed your light afar. To the many duties ever near you now be true. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Someone far from harbor you may guide across the bar. Brighten the corner where you are. Just above our clouded skies that you may help to clear. Let not narrow self your way debar. Though into one heart alone may fall your song of cheer. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Someone far from harbor you may guide across the bar. Brighten the corner where you are. Here for all your talent you may surely find a need. Here reflect the bright and morning star. Even from your humble hand the bread of life may feed. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Brighten the corner where you are. Someone far from harbor you may guide across the bar. Brighten the corner where you are.
Let's show that next slide, Connie. I'm going to read this to you. Talk about somebody brightening a corner. Pakistan's first ever female architect, Yasmin Lari, is saving lives. She is the co-founder of the Heritage Foundation, which makes bamboo huts for Pakistanis stricken by floods. This year, more than 1 million people have lost their homes in the flooding. Yasmin, who is 81 years old, is creating a place for them to live. Brighten the corner where you are. Bobby Henderson brightened the corner where she was, and that legacy will continue. Your legacy will continue if you brighten the corner where you are. And so it is. We're going to let go with the affirmation, Connie. Let's go to taking our love offerings, our blessings, and then we have another song.